I know that Larry Leatherwood is supposed to do the Sergeant at Arms, but since I was not here last week, I've forgotten who is the chaplain this month.
It's me, Paul Irvin.
Okay, Paul. Paul, have you found a surrogate today, or are you going to?
I'm going to do it. I'm actually in a hotel in Charlotte in their lobby. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm getting ready to put Paul Revere Irvin III and Paul Revere Irvin IV on a plane in about 45 minutes to an hour, so I may have to leave a little early. I really wanted to tell you how much I appreciate this Zoom, because it enables me and a lot of us who are away from home to be on without having to miss a meeting. So, and it's always good to see, and particularly Cecil, all that you do to make this happen and all the other fun things you send us. So thank you for all you do. I wanted to do the prayer myself, if that's okay, if you'll join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, by the magic of technology that you've helped us have available, please know how much we appreciate Rotary and what it does for service above self, what it does in the community. But we know that we are serving you, and we're the hands and feet of you in many times, in many ways. We want to particularly lift up the people and the families we discussed, particularly Heather and John, and John's wife, Carrie, and their loss. But we, each of us, know of families that have lost in the last week and around the country, that so much is going on relating to the COVID in the schools that people are trying to learn, but are having to do much of it virtually. Be with the parents that are having to become teachers, and particularly with young people, and the school teachers that are doing it many times from their home. Also, we would lift up us and our club and the people that are involved and the people we want to include in the club, because we feel that it will continue to be a blessing to our community to have service above self. We ask this prayer in Christ's name. Amen.
Mr. Elwood, can you do us the Sergeant at Arms duties? Did he unmute himself?
Sorry, I didn't unmute. Can you hear me now, Ham?
Yes.
All right, join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we say and do: is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Larry. A few announcements. Next Wednesday, the 26th, I've asked to convene a short board meeting to look at our budget for this year, and to have one request for financial support. So that should not be a long board meeting, so we can just do it all by Zoom, I believe. Larry Leatherwood, do you want to say anything about Day of Caring?
Yes, thank you. I just got a communication from Salisa yesterday relative to a project that they have for us to do. It doesn't seem to be as involved as some we had in the past. And additionally, for those of us, or those of you who may not be able to work with us on this particular project, if you are in a situation where you are helping neighbors, family, in doing the kinds of things that we normally would do, you can certainly get credit for participation in the United Way Day of Caring. The day is scheduled for the 10th of September. I found out I'm going to be out of town that day, so we're going to readjust our day. And I'll talk to Dean and we'll get that worked out and let you know. But I've got to also go visit this household and make sure exactly what we need to do. I've got an inkling of it, But as I say, it's not too involved. It's replacing a door and a window and rebuilding some steps. Unless the steps are very, very long, it shouldn't take too long to get it done. But I'll pull that together in the next week or so and get that information to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Mark, you want to recruit some folks for Open Door?
Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to invite folks for engagement this coming Thursday, August the 27th at Open Door. We'll need at least 4 volunteers to help us out. I'll be sending out a email, and if you'll respond to that, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Does anyone have any information on the backpack alternatives that Cecil has included in the spoke of how we could support some of the school children, even though they're not delivering backpacks this year? Marcy.
We're waiting to hear back from Manna, and part of that has to do with her contacts. We're kind of dependent on what the schools determine their needs are with Manna. So Bill and I have been in touch with them, but we haven't heard anything back yet about what the needs are or how they're going to do that as long as they're on virtual programming or a hybrid programming. So we'll let you know just as soon as there's an opportunity.
All right, thanks. I'm glad they're keeping you in touch and in the loop.
Steve,
Yes.
while you're talking about backpacks, I just wanted to let you know that I received a check from AutoStar for the second quarter of checks $3,385, and I'll be taking it by Mark's office on Monday.
Thank you very much. Can we send a thank you note or something to whom? You're muted.
Van Oak, OLP.
Okay. We probably should do that at least once a year. Okay, any other announcements?
Steve, if I could put on my treasurer's hat for just a moment.
Okay.
We are at about 5 weeks until the end of our quarter. We are still trying to close out finances from the last quarter of last year, and we're currently carrying $2,337 in active member dues that have not come in yet. I've billed everybody again that has a debt that we need to collect. So if you are one of those folks, I would ask you to look that over for accuracy. If I've made a mistake, please let me know as quickly as possible so I can correct it. If my records are correct, please make every effort to get your fund balance down to zero because the club needs our balance to have some cash flow. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecil. Let's see. Larry East, you have a program for us today.
I certainly do, continuing on the trend of bringing in some of our local young entrepreneurs. Today we have with us Mr. Mike Coble, who's the owner of multiple retail businesses here in Waynesville. I'll let him tell you about. And he has a very interesting past. He was born in Stone Mountain, Georgia, attended Western Carolina University, where he studied criminal justice with a minor in law or criminal law. After Western, he entered the Marine Corps as an officer. And after completing his time in the Marines, he went on to work for Verizon Corporation and traveled around the country as a corporate fixer for underperforming stores. While at Verizon, he started a consulting firm teaching small to medium-sized companies how to integrate technology into their company to make them more profitable. He has owned several businesses, but has sold most of them to move his family back to the mountains to raise their kids and grow into the community. Mike is here today to share with us in 2 areas. One, as a business owner here in Waynesville, to gauge the pulse of small businesses on Main Street during these challenging times. And also, as a young entrepreneur, discussing how organizations like Rotary can attract more young, energetic, successful members. So please help me welcome Mr. Mike Coble.
Good. Thank you guys for letting me be here today. Can everybody hear me? We're off mute. We're good?
Yes.
Yes.
I see some head shaking there. So, as for the part of the Rotary group today, I really appreciate that. I'm actually a fellow Rotarian. I have not been active in a group since I've moved here, but I was Rotarian in Columbia, South Carolina, as well as Sarasota, Florida, while I was down there. So definitely understand. Let's see here, it's unstable. So I definitely understand the Rotarian way, a little of the culture here. So I was very excited when Larry reached out and wanted to talk. So yeah, I'm going to be conscious of the time today. They said I have about 3 minutes, so we'll wrap this up as quick as possible, and I'll get you guys on your merry way. But a couple things I want to talk about today. Again, we want to just recap that we're going to talk about downtown Waynesville, kind of see what's going on there, and then I think the biggest issue that most groups face, not just Rotarians right now, but even as business owners and other social groups, how do we attract a younger entrepreneur, and not just a young entrepreneur, someone that holds the value and the integrity that most of us hold and have been raised with and want to continue to see our groups grow with. I was raised by my grandfather, just a little bit of a backup here, in Stone Mountain, Georgia, military family. He was in World War II and Korea. Families kind of served all throughout. And, he worked for the railroad for 45 years. So he got the gold watch and the things there. So, I come from that old Southern Baptist background of, this is what you need to do. This is how you got to stick with it, and the good times and the bad times. And so I really value those times, and I value that integrity. And I find that in today's society, it's very difficult to keep with that sometimes. And it's very difficult to stay relevant, just doing the right thing, as we would want to call it. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in how we get people to our groups. But really just bring it in. I've lived all over the country, but most recently, me and my family, I have a wife and 3 children. We decided to come back here to Western Carolina. We just kind of fell in love with the mountains and the people here after I went to the Harvard of the South, right over here in Silva. And, just so happened that fate came about, and there was some gentleman selling a business here. So I bought J. Gabriel Home and Gifts from Jose and Gabe. I don't know if some of you guys might know them. They're great guys. They were going to focus on cash. So I worked with them for about 6 months or so, because one of the things that I learned as a business consultant is you don't go in and just start dropping bombs, right? So anytime you do a business acquisition or things like that, it's a very surgical move. So we don't change the name or any of the staff or things like that. And I wanted to keep the culture of what we had. And in doing that, the town really grew around us, and we were able to grow. I eventually took over Moonlight and Garbo, which is the clothing boutique that they had. And then most recently, we've opened Georgia Colt, which is a baby store in town. And as of yesterday, we just opened the new Monogram store in town. It's off of Wall Street in the bottom of J. Gabriel. It's called J. Gabriel Embroidery. So, when people say, hey, times are tough right now, yes, they are. But, the scope of Waynesville is this. 80% of the business in Waynesville used to be just straight tourist. And a lot of the business owners down here, they waited on traffic to come in. And we really only have about 4 months left until we don't have any traffic like we normally would have downtown. So kind of what we're seeing right now is, we're trying to come in as business owners now and say, what can we do to grab more business and more traffic? And one of the things that, I've been working with some of the business owners that need be is the use of technology. And most of us are Zoomed out. If you weren't in any corporation or multiple groups, you're on multiple Zoom calls a day. And it gets a little bit difficult sometimes, and you get in the weeds of your business of, okay, well, you get one call and it tells you, oh, well, you should be all on social media. Your Facebook needs to be up. Your Instagram needs to be up. And a lot of people have no idea what that means. A lot of the curbside pickup, in town and to shop local. How do I shop local when I really need things at Walmart, or I can't pay some of the prices that we have. We find a lot of those issues downtown. But the big thing that I want to talk to people about downtown and the scape of the whole landscape of Waynesville is partnering together to look at your terms and conditions. And that's where I tell a lot of business owners to start. They're worried about that money coming in the front door, but they don't realize that truckload that's going out the back. So, that's really the scope of Waynesville right now is I think as business owners, we're all just trying to take a look and say, what can we do to conserve the funds that we have right now downtown? Because though we are picking up with all the social guidelines and the new things coming out every day, every week seems to be kind of like a roller coaster ride downtown. But I will say that as a group, Waynesville is strong, downtown is strong. I believe we are more strong now than we have been in the last couple of months, because now we've been able to open the doors. We see the people coming downtown a little bit more. We've made proper preparations. I know in our stores we went ahead and bought some UV lights to put up in the balances. They're fairly cheap. So, I recommend any of you that have some businesses or offices that let people in there, look into that. They kill 99% of the bacteria floating through the air. Just cut on the air conditions at night pretty heavily, let it blow through, and it will kill some of that bacteria floating through the air. It could be good for flus and common colds and things like that as well, not just the COVID. So, I am here to say that in the whole scope of Waynesville, though, we're doing good. We're doing good. And I think downtown's going to survive. It's going to do really well. Continue to support your local stores down here. We're going to continue to grow. I'm always looking for opportunities. I know we had 4 stores in a year, so that's super exciting for us downtown, but we're looking for opportunities to give back as well as bring in some new talent. I can't speak for the whole town, so I kind of have to do just general conversation, because I know some people don't feel the exact same way I do. I just try to look at that glass half full and say, hey, we have a great opportunity to keep driving downtown and keep an amazing downtown the way we have it. So, I'll answer any questions toward the end about downtown and what you feel or what you think. So we can go from there. One of my biggest passions, though, guys, I'll tell you, is I love talking to groups about, bringing in young professionals into the group, young entrepreneurs. I've been on several board of directors in regards to how do we recruit new people. I tell you, here's a couple of the things that I look, especially as Rotary, because Rotary is a group that, I kind of hold close to heart. My family was Rotarians. I was a Rotarian here, and I believe it has a good core group. But one of the reasons that we're finding that the recruitment is out is that a lot of people don't know the why behind the Rotarians, right? They don't know why we're here. Why do we need to meet? Why do we need to have this group in our area? And, if you want to know how to influence young leaders, you just look at any of the religious, the political, any aspect right now with the young people. I'm in my late 30s, and I can tell you that most of the people, even around my age, are very uneducated in lots of common sense, just basic education things. Their actions are solely moved on energy. That's it. You get an energetic leader, it doesn't really matter what the why is. They want to see the energy and they want results right now. So, when I look at our groups, when I look at our businesses, even when I look at our people, I always start with, well, tell me a little bit more about your why, your energy, why we're here in the area. Because people, honestly, be honest with you, they don't care how long you've been a group, and they don't really care about overseas things, hey, we contribute to this or that, or they want to know the why, and they want to know we're doing things right now. And they want to know what motivates you right now. We tend to give a lot of statistics. We tend to offer a lot of benefits that don't necessarily equate things right now. And, a prime example is this, especially in any business or any organization. We talk a lot about numbers. We talk a lot about people that we help, but we don't mention the backstories. I like in your meeting here where you guys talk about the families. You talk about, what's going on and give people the opportunity to openly talk about, who do we need to pray for? Who do we need to reach a hand out for? Because that's in the area right now. That's where young professionals are looking. Like when I move into a community and when young professionals look into a community, they want to plug in with something that's going on right now, and when people remember their name, when they remember things that goes on in their area, they tend to be attracted to those groups a little bit more, So again, that's where I kind of put out there to say, use your stories, don't use your spreadsheets. So, and that could be for your business, that could be for any type of group. If you go in there starting talking numbers or talking, where you've been, they don't get excited about that. They want to hear about where you're going and things that you're doing right now. So when we're attracting those young leaders, stay away from the I guess I kind of look at it as activity versus achievements, right? We talk about a lot of activity, but what are we currently achieving? And the new group, the new young professionals, one of the reasons, honestly, and I like to speak real honest about it, but one of the reasons that I haven't jumped into any big organizations here is because I want to hear about the activities and see if that correlates to any achievements. Being downtown, I have the privilege of working with a lot of people who help a lot of organizations. Secretly on the back end, all of my companies have a 501c3 that all percentage of money, we take a percentage every month of all our sales goes back in there, and that directly goes right into our community here, helping families, whether it be giving book bags back for school, even though we're not doing school so much. I have now become a substitute teacher, and I don't know what I'm doing, but there's so much here that we want to give back to. But I haven't heard of many groups that are downtown that are doing that are boots on the ground, right? How are they affecting the local people? So, I hate to say this, but I have attracted a lot of investors and donors into this group for the simple reason that all they hear is activities, they don't hear achievements, and they would rather put their money into one group that accomplishes the goal, and then we move to the next goal, and then we move to the next goal, rather than having 15 opportunities on the table and we only capital fund about 40 to 50% of the group, and it never gets achieved. So when we look at this whole piece of how do we attract the young people, let's talk about the achievements. Let's talk about what we're doing right now here in this community. Let's remember that we're in a completely new landscape. So, the landscape that we used to live on, the one that I was raised on, right? This is what you do. This is you get into a company, you get there, you get into a group, you get involved. They don't grow them like that anymore. I'd love to say we do. I still have an old way of kind of, this is, my son, that poor boy, he's being raised by a Marine, right? So one of the things that I loved about the Marine Corps is you always hear the saying, once a Marine, always a Marine, right? And one of the reasons that we say that is because we know that we gave ourselves to a lifestyle, to a certain group that says, no matter what, we're going to live by this code. And I don't care where you go, right? I have the short hair right now. I am covered in tattoos, but even if I had longer hair, you could pick a Marine out of the group, right? They're a little bit of the crazy ones and eating crayons, but for the most part, you can pick us out of a group when we walk down the road. And I would say that that's what, if a Rotary group or another group wants to collect new members, in today's society, you got to walk and talk the four-way test, right? They want to hear, what did you do today? What did you do yesterday, depending on when I asked you today, to either make someone's life better? What did we do as a group? What are we doing to accomplish something today, right? It's almost like a business. I hate to say it, right? It's a capital drive. Why did churches build new sanctuaries? For capital drives, right? That's the best way to bring in money in the collection plate, because people give, people donate, people get a part of something they can see, a tangible result. So, that's what we're going to have to do as an organization. We're going to have to give people tangible results right now, and that's, and then you have to get out there and tell the people why behind it, right? It's not because this is just who we are. It's because this is who I am, right? This is a four-way test. This test says, this is what I live by. This is the creed. So that's why I hate to tell people that I used to be a Rotarian. Like I'd like to tell people that I'll always be a Rotarian, because it's a way that you're supposed to live every day. It's a way that, when you get that coin and you walk around in your pocket and you reach down to grab your change and you go, was I as really nice to that person as I should be, right? Did I leave that room with a taste that, I can't wait till that person comes back, right? Did the person that visits our group, do they know what we're about other than a large scale, right? Do we know what the Waynesville Rotarian group is about and how they focus their efforts right now in Waynesville, right? What's their story? Did someone give me a story as to what we're doing right now? And not only did we get a story, is anybody excited to be there, right? We get really excited to be in our groups, but is anybody really excited to be there? And so those are the ways that we're going to attract our people, I believe, here in the Rotarian group. And I know it sounds so simple, right? It's like, well, anybody can be excited, but it's really not, right? I tell you, one of the things that I've kind of taken on this year is reading 2 books a month, right? For the whole year. I'm not a huge reader, so this was a big task for me. But one of the challenges in one of the books, and this is what I like to challenge people, is go 20 days without saying something negative. Try it. And this is even talking to yourself something negative. And that's even if you get to day 19 and you say something negative, try again. I think it's a great test, because it's one that we live in a great society of get it right now. I want everything right now. And when we don't get it right now, we get very upset that we don't get it right now. So, that's one of the best tests that I look at, and to say, how am I driving my energy? Am I being negative? Am I not being negative? And that's how we're attracting the new groups. That's how we're attracting the new people. And it's really not rocket science. It's really not. Generationally, I feel very strong that my generation, I think, is probably going to be one of the last real strong generations, because we kind of knew some of our grandparents and some of that work ethic. And I hope that I can transfer some of that to my son. But I see the competitive landscape that we have going on and the way it's moving, that people can be influenced extremely easy now. Integrity is something that it's very difficult to have with our people now, and everything is at the touch of a fingertip. You don't have to work very hard for many things anymore. So I would venture to say, today is a little bit of a scatterbrain, just kind of a talk session. It's not a detailed speech and 4 steps on how to grab a millennial, right? Or how to grab a young person into the group. I wanted to kind of speak a little bit more generically so that, it hits everybody different. We're all in different fields, right? Some of us doctors, lawyers, real estate agents, business owners in town, small business owners, large CEOs, large executives. And I'm hoping that somebody can take one little piece of knowledge and take it with them, whether it be, man, maybe I should start looking at the glass half full instead of half empty. And you know what? That can change the energy of my group. And when I have a positive energy, that's momentum, right? So if you guys are any, football fans, I'm a diehard University of Georgia fan. So go Dogs. And if you don't like the Dogs, leave your negative comments to yourself at the end. And, but momentum changes a game. And that's the same way it is in our business. And that's the same way it is in our groups. And the minute that you realize that motivation is key, and that anybody is a player, right? You throw away the resumes, anybody's a player. And I think you'll see that there'll be an uptick in your recruitment. I see there'll be an uptick in the energy of your group, as well as in your office or your business, how well you will do, and how well your recruitment will be throughout. So I know it's like 1:40 now. I believe there's a hard stop at 2:00. I'll give some people some time to say, hey, Mike, you are completely wrong, or answer any additional questions that you might have, whether it be Waynesville, what we're doing, or anything that I said. I never learned anything from everybody that I agree with. So please, if there's anything that I can do for you guys, let's hear it or let's know.
So what questions do we have for Mike? He's covered a lot. Questions on downtown Waynesville businesses or our recruiting efforts? Mike,
I appreciate the things that you've been saying. We are trying to recruit additional members, and 2 of the speakers we've had since July 1 have actually joined the club. So we'll open that invitation to you as well. We are a club that tries to do things and accomplish things, whether it's helping rebuild or work on someone's home to help make their livelihood better, more convenient, whatever. We do the backpack program to start. We were one of the early clubs to get involved in providing food for our school children on the weekends. And that's the backpack program that we've mentioned today. And this year we're going to try to find a way to do something like that in a different format, since we don't have children in school right now. So we try to be active and as well as achieving things, as well as be part of the international Rotary process that you mentioned as well. So appreciate your thoughts and your comments about that. And we certainly would love to have someone with your energy and background as part of our club to help us do a better job of reaching our community. Anybody have questions or comments for Mike?
Yeah, Mike, this is Larry. One of the things you and I spoke about was that, can you all hear me okay? I'm getting some feedback.
Yeah.
Okay. Was the reason I joined Rotary is I was looking for a conduit to activity in the community, not just while I love these guys and ladies, and meeting on Fridays and lunches and things. It's really about the activity and all of the programs and projects that we do that really speaks to my heart and why I've continued to be a Rotarian. And this club does so much. I will say that I think we need to do a better job. I think we're very humble in those things, and we need to do a better job of letting the community know all the projects that we do, because I think that is attractive to others. But at the same time, we have our humility, and we don't toot our own horn very much. We try to make our actions speak louder than words, and get out into the community. And work in the soup kitchens, Habitat for Humanity, United Way Day of Caring, Christmas baskets, at the end of the year for the poor and needy in the community. And the list goes on. And every month we have projects and things that we're excited about it and we're doing. And, there's subsets of people that work on one project and subsets that work on others. But this group, for the last, I guess 15 years I've been a part of it, has just continued to deliver to the community, and they do it quietly. And maybe we shouldn't be so quiet about it. So, but any other questions for Mike?
Yeah, this is Justin Powell. A question about downtown, and I was speaking with a client and friend whose business is, at the height of the lockdown was down about 90% and is currently down about 40%. And they're one of the more established restaurants that we all enjoy. And they were able to renegotiate their rent. And I didn't know if you talked to other business owners who may be dealing with a landlord. Are the landlords being flexible with businesses in the hopes that we get to the other side of this thing and start to see growth? But with the very real possibility that this virus could be with us for the next 2 to 3 years, things are okay now, but what's the, without renegotiation of rents and things like that, what's the longevity? What are we looking at as far as, seeing half of Main Street boarded up at some point, or are we going to all pull together as a community and try to keep those businesses in place?
Yeah, a couple things there. I think what you're seeing right now is about 50-50. Some of the landlords that own the buildings that are local, and when I say local, live, let's just say the Southeast region, enough to where they visit the town a good bit. They will work. They are working with some of the tenants to renegotiate. I'll tell you, I'm in about 3 buildings right now. 2 of my 3 where we were able to negotiate rent a little bit down to where we can catch up later. 1 was not so willing, so we'll see what happens there with them and moving to another building. But I would venture to say that there is a new crop of landlords coming in. I know a couple buildings just sold to a couple guys in Florida. I'm looking at a couple buildings downtown. So I think that you're going to see that there's the people that are investing in the buildings now want downtown to succeed. And with the government, with the SBA and the USDA holding back on a lot of their loans, a lot of the building owners now they can kind of take that reprieve because they're getting the reprieve themselves. So I think the real test is going to be in January. A lot of the SBA and a lot of the USDA loans, they come back full effect October, November. So we'll really see. That's going to be the test in January. And just kind of go back real quick, just to circle back about the acts that you're doing. I know Rotary does great and wonderful things, and we don't need to preach it from the rooftop, but I think you do need to get a little more vocal. I think you need to get out there, and it's not about being humble. It's about saying, here's who we are and here's what we're doing. How do you want to help? And it's not, do you want to help? It's how do you want to help? And when you give people that information, 9 times out of 10, they'll go, oh, well, I know how to swing a hammer. Well, great. I have an opportunity for you. But when you give a young person now a hammer and say, hey, do you want to help? I can guarantee you they will put it down and go somewhere else. So you kind of have to put that question out there going, here's what we're doing, right? Where do you want to get involved? And because that's one of the things I loved about Rotary. It was so many different aspects of business that all come together that people can just pull together to be able to pull so many things together to get an accomplishment done. So yeah, I think that in regards to this club, it looks like it's a growing club. I think there's 30-something participants on a Zoom call, which is outstanding for some of the groups that we're on. I mean, to have 31 people to come in, I would assume here on a weekly basis with you guys, outstanding. Kudos to your club to be able to do that. and to be able to hold strong. But definitely come out swinging a little bit more, because there's a lot of young professionals moving in downtown like myself. And I've been on downtown for a year, and I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to be a part of it. I want to support it. But I can't support what I don't know what's going on.
George?
I have a great affinity with all of our members and feel very appreciative of being a part of this club. But as you look around, I'm almost the median age. How can we make age an asset rather than a liability? How do we reach young people through our experience and who we are that is attractive to their development as entrepreneurs, as new people to the community? I feel more comfortable with people my age anyway. But how do I break out of my box? And again, just how can my experience and age be a major asset in reaching younger people?
Yeah, that's a great question. The problem that most young people face is they think they can get online and Google it, right? I can Google it. I can figure out how to do it and change my own oil, whatever. I can do it. And you don't realize the value of wrench time. Someone that's been in there turning the wrench for 20 years that can tell you, hey, if you just do it this way, I'll save you 4 hours to do it. And my best suggestion is get, this is where you got to have to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and step into areas where young entrepreneurs go to find advice. I volunteer coach at HCC for business coaching for companies. But people like me, that when I'm out looking for things, I need things done right now. I need help right now, and I don't have time to go through red tape of, the bank. I don't have red tape of going through HCC and filling out all the paperwork to get something, because I've usually exhausted all efforts, and I'm about a month away from really hitting my face hard. So, George, answer your question is, even with a Rotarian group, find a way that you foster these young entrepreneurs, whether it be a leads group, whether it be a free consultative service for that type of organization. You can start a Facebook page. You can, just get out and find other young entrepreneurs, walk in and say, hey, Mike, what are the 3 things that you ran into, and how can I contact them to offer my free services? I mean, you'd be surprised how many young entrepreneurs just need 5 minutes of advice. And I tell you what, if you give them 5 minutes of some type of corporate advice or whatever advice, life advice that you run into, they'd be yours forever. But people don't want to spend the time, and they keep hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and they don't know where to turn, right? And they don't know how to network properly. They weren't brought up to go to networking groups. They weren't brought into Rotarian groups. They got on Facebook and found some kind of group, and they talked to friends all over the world that they've never seen their face. They've never shaken a hand. So they don't understand that concept. And unfortunately, they're not seeking out groups like this because they're extremely uncomfortable. So if you want to reach out there, it's one of those, there's a variety of platforms to get on, and I'd be more than willing to help you with any of them. But that's where you're going to have to go. You'd have to get a little bit uncomfortable to get out there to offer some services, or just let people know. Again, it's one of those things. It's not that you don't know, it's that they don't know that you know. And you got to find the ways to teach them that you know.
Steve? Oh, hold on a second. You're muted. Now we can't see you.
That's the story of my life.
Oh, Steve Brown.
I'm back. I'm sorry, Mike. Can y'all hear me now? Mike, one of the questions I have, and I don't want to get political, but over the last 4 or 5 years, the downtown Waynesville has taken a huge transformation, and a lot of new businesses have come to town. But what some people have had some concerns about the real estate companies and businesses that are not retail businesses coming to Main Street and taking properties that are in the downtown area. How do you feel about that, and how do you think we should move forward with that through the DWA or what other entities in the town of Waynesville?
Yeah, one of the reasons that I came back to Waynesville, I'll tell you, when I left Western and went off the Marine Corps, I met my wife shortly before I left Western. And one of the things that I loved about Waynesville was what Waynesville kind of stood for. We'd come up here at Halloween and they'd shut down the town and all those people would give out candy for the kids, right? At Christmas time, the carolers walking around, and it was just a little piece of heaven that you just don't find anywhere anymore. Waynesville, to survive, in my opinion, has to be a collective unit of retail stores. We need retail stores in Waynesville. People want to come, they want to shop. You're always going to have your Amazons and you're always going to have your Walmarts, and you can preach shop local till you're blue in the face, but the reality is, people just want to get away from reality. That's why they come to the mountains. They want to see the leaves change. They want to walk into stores and see stuff that they don't see on their normal counters. I was very upset when a lot of the stores staggered their openings downtown. I totally believe in safety and social distancing and things like that, but we're better together as a force. And one thing I would like to see Downtown Waynesville Association to come together and say, look, guys, we need to have, whether it be, I won't ever tell anybody what they have to have, but we have some good restaurants in town. I don't think we need 5,000 more bakeries or things like that. But, I'd like to see some more retail down there. And it's not about competition. There's enough people walking around that we don't have to worry about competition. But I think that our people and our tourists deserve a downtown full of shops that they can go in and visit and park and have awesome festivals to see. And when people can't walk in to a variety of shops, then they'll go to towns that they can, and there's little towns that are popping up that are ready. They're wanting to grow into these little shops. And I think it's our time to make sure that we set some footing down to say, oh no, Waynesville will always be full of good little shops to come. And I think we need to do everything we need to do to preserve that.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? I think we're getting close to our time here. One more question. Anyone has anything? All right, President Steve, I'll turn it back over to you. And Mike, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you, Mike. We love hearing from our fellow Rotarians and from our potential Rotarians, and the way to address young people is something that all organizations are trying to get a good grip on. So thank you very much for your thoughts and your comments and your leadership in downtown Waynesville. Anything else for the good of Rotary today? If not, we will have a board meeting next Wednesday at 3:30, and we'll see you back here next Friday. Have a good weekend.